Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the If You Know, You Know podcast. And introducing the man who, much like Noel or Isaac, spends his time interpreting all of the madness, all of the chaotic information coming his way about Survivor Southampton Season 2. Your host, Master General, is Mike Price. Joining me, the man who hasn't quite locked down on exactly how to act out a jellyfish, it is Lenny Greenfield. Welcome to the podcast, Lenny.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. My jellyfish was incredible.
Do you know what? Why don't we start there? Because it's one of the burning questions that I've had from this week. Let's just really jump straight to that because I think really anyone watching it is very clearly thinking why were people saying that was a really good acting job? Lenny, what were you trying to act out when you were acting out the jellyfish?
It's good.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
Basically, when you get stung by a jellyfish, obviously you have to urinate on the bite, on the sting.
Is that what it was? Because I never got that from that. But like
Yeah, it was
some of the
quite
fans were
clear.
responding saying, "Oh, good acting there
Yeah.
from Lenny," and then I was
So
like, "I never saw you do that."
and then end up Divya got stung, and then I pissed on Divya's leg,
Is that
pretended.
what it was? Because I had no idea that's what you're going for. I thought you
Yeah.
were just pointing at it, saying it had been bitten.
No, 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 no. It was actually a very convincing jellyfish.
I did not clock that at the time at all. But like Liam Lew's on the sideline going, "Good acting," and
Yeah, I was happy with that. I
I
actually think I
preferred
put in a very good performance in general.
I preferred Strath just going like that
Yeah,
seemed.
but I mean, you'd seen Isaac so far in that challenge. I think that might have worked on Noel, but on Isaac, I think you need a little bit more.
That's true. And normally I would absolutely ruin Isaac for his pitiful performance in this challenge, but I am really shit at guessing charades. So like I
Yeah,
would be even worse. Like
I mean the first one was hard. Like when you had Toucan and what was it Giant? No, was it Giant Eagle? Was it just Eagle?
he had Eagle, but
Yeah, Eagle and Toucan on the same five is hard. I think.
yeah, but I think Will did quite a good job because he was doing the like that for like
Yeah,
bald, which
yeah.
I think Isaac arguably should
I think
have
Isaac was
understood.
just bad, especially when you compare him to the man stood next to him.
I mean, Noel was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
It's, I've I've seen the raw footage like a lot of times for this challenge. The number of times Will pranced around acting out that eagle was ridiculous.
They had finished all three by the time we'd done.
Yeah, that
Jeez,
is no editing trickery there. They were fully done by the
we are
time
such a bad
before
team.
Isaac had realised the difference between an eagle and a toucan.
It's a
Um,
miracle we won that challenge.
yeah, okay, so let's jump straight into the episode as we often do, Lenny, straight from the top. So we come in and I gather everyone together. And first of all, Merrick see that Lucy's been voted off. Okay.
Mm.
And we have a tribe swap suggestion here, Lenny. So this was very much born out of during the last strategy session. I only came in at the end to film it, and that's because I was first of all preparing the stuff for this next challenge, and second of all, I was tearing my hair out, much like Will's bald eagle, that Ruba had lost so many challenges. And I was like, is there a way that I can possibly save the inevitable of just a survivor pull-out type situation, just Ruba getting absolutely bodied in every challenge and then just losing basically every single player. So I sat down, had a bit of a brainstorm with the rest of the crew, and I was like, do you know what? We're even numbers again. It's a good opportunity to do a tribe swap if it's going to happen. Completely mix everyone up. We'll split it 7-7 again. We'll just start from scratch. Completely mix everyone up randomly. But I decided to see what you guys all thought. So handed out everyone cards. You saw what happened. Merak were all happy doing their own thing. They all said no.
Yeah, of
Take me
course.
through your decision process here.
Well, I'm thinking I've just lost four challenges on the spin. This team clearly doesn't have the capability of winning challenges, and I'd much rather have Oscar on my team. So let's try let's try and make that happen. Please, please for some reason let the blue team also vote for this. But unfortunately, I was the only person who voted for it. Um, so what can I say? I'm a
You
maverick.
were the only person. Let's talk about whether Ruben made the right call or not, because I'll let you in on what would have happened here. So I gave everyone cards, but realistically, I was thinking Ruben's the tribe that's down here. You know, they got unlucky in the memory challenge. They've been a bit unfortunate so far. They've lost every
Yeah,
challenge. It's not looking like it's going to turn around. So if you guys had wanted to switch the tribes up, then we would have done it regardless of what Merak would have said. Because like, of course they're all going to say no, like they've
oh,
won everything. So
yeah.
if two more people on Ruba had said yes, we probably would have done it.
Damn.
So let's get into whether it was a smart choice or not. Because like obviously you've got the drawback is if you're swapping, you're basically guaranteed to everyone on Ruba will be in a minority unless by some
Yeah,
miracle all five of you end up together. In which case that's fine. You'll just probably vote together the whole way through.
yeah,
Um, So the cons is you'll all definitely be in minorities. But I think maybe a pro is Merak haven't even been to tribal council yet. So maybe they'll all
yeah.
just be willing to,
We've got the tactical advantage
yeah.
if we swap because we're so much more zoned into the game. And you also like we'd be so bonded that we're like a surefire alliance. Even if there's like, I mean, if there's three of you, then that's three, and you need one more person. Obviously, if you end up just as two or in your own, then it's a bit harder. But I think you're just more into the game, so it's definitely an advantage there.
Because this ended up not happening. If you had been involved in a tribe swap, okay, let's say and let's say you end up swapping into majority. So there's 4-1 in terms of Ruba. Let's say, I
Yeah.
don't know, Big Dog or someone ends up on his own with 6 Merak. Do you then consider throwing immunity challenges to save Big Dog on the other team and then also get rid of all the blues on your side?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. If that idea would had popped into my head, and if it had happened, and that had popped into my head, there's no way I'm not asking the rest of the Reds to go along with that because I think that would be so funny to just take, take out like imagine it's like Noel, especially to do it to Noel or someone like that would be fantastic. Holly Sheridan caught out in the tribe swap,
Holly Sheridan swap screwed.
just someone undeserving.
I mean, there was a lot of animosity between the tribes at this point, so I feel like you probably could have convinced Ruba to do it. Would Holly be the one person that you would have been like, she doesn't really deserve this? Had everyone else pissed you off by this point? Maybe Billy hadn't.
Yeah, I was not a fan of the blue team. I was there was definite animosity coming from my direction. I just didn't like him. Didn't like a single person on that team at the time.
At that exact moment in time, was there anyone that you were just like, oh, well, they're all right? What about like, I reckon Zhao, Holly, Billy?
Yeah, obviously Holly. Holly could stab me in the back and I'd be like, wow, she's just lovely. Um, yeah, Zhao, Billy had just been quite quiet. And Max was still just making me laugh, to be fair. But Strath, Oscar, Noel, Ben Roberts, they would have been straight out if I was on a try with them. Any of the four.
All right, so everyone says no, and with the exception of you, do you think this had any negative impact on your game? Were any of the Rubas kind of side-eyeing you? Like,
I reckon everyone completely forgot by the end of the immunity challenge that it even happened.
mm.
Um, which
Because
tends
like
to be the way with
it's a
FFA.
bold move, especially ending up as the only one. At the time, we were just like, ah, shit, I've sort of outed myself, and people are going to think it's because I want a team with players like Noel, which is kind of the perception that they had of you anyway.
No, I think I just more had it as a playoff as a lads, we've lost four in a row. Of course, of course I want to fucking swap.
Trying to remember exactly how I was feeling at the time. I think I had said if Ruba lose again, I can't remember if it was whether you lose this one or if you lose the next two, I'm just going to switch the tribes anyway. I
Yeah.
think that was sort of what I vaguely had in my head at the time. But I think at the point that you won that, it's the notion kind of went out of my head. But I think had you lost that, we probably would have been heading for a tribe swap in the next episode,
Yeah.
regardless. I would have been like, do you know what? I'm taking the decision out of your hands. I'm just swapping you. Just Unlucky.
Yeah.
You should have done better.
I think looking back, it was nice that we didn't swap then because it was a very nice feeling to win that challenge.
Yeah. Okay. So, but before we get to the challenge, Lenny, there's some hidden immunity idols
Oh,
that, from my recollection, have actually been there since the start, as have a few more idols, but we won't get
yeah,
into
but
those
I'm
just
not
yet.
being funny. Who's checking DJ Hero 2?
Well,
Just
no, but the
randomly.
clues were there. The clues have been there the whole
We're
time.
getting clues, yeah.
I made a big deal about how one of the tribes was the fox tribe and the other tribe is the peacock tribe. And I had a picture of a fox just like sticking out the stairs. Admittedly, that one was a little bit harder to find. And then a
It just
picture of a peacock in my room. And when Merak kept winning, they would always go up to your room. Next door is my room. They had free reign to walk in and out. A lot of them went in there for confessionals. Like I don't understand how they didn't
To
spot
be fair, I don't know how they didn't see it. Like when you're looking back, Holly's literally stood right next to it. It's
it.
mental.
It is genuinely quite impressive. I
I'm
don't.
going to defend myself and say I was nowhere near the stairs or your room.
But do you not think that maybe you could have gone either in my room or near the stairs? All right,
I was too.
fair enough. You didn't
I,
win, but in that whole time,
I was
so
too busy losing. I'm afraid. I was taking up all my time.
yeah. So to make it a little bit more obvious for the viewer, we took a quick break between rounds 4 and 5. I think mainly to give Ruber a chance to have lunch because they hadn't had the chance yet.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
enjoyed me just eating a sandwich through a lot of that section.
Oh, don't worry, that shot will be coming back later on in the season. Well, we'll find out a bit more about that later. However, so it's during this break that I call everyone together. So that's why Faris and Will is eating their lunch during the shot, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So we still got a little bit more time before we're going to start the next immunity challenge. Do we want to tribe swap? Yes or no? There's some immunity idols. You can spend the next few minutes instead of having a break looking for those. So that's what people were doing. So Lenny, you're not amongst those initially looking for idols. Is it just that you were absolutely starving? What was going on?
I was really hungry. I was really, really hungry. I don't think I'd had that much for breakfast because I was expecting to be able to eat semi-consistently throughout the day. I didn't expect to go that long without food. It was real survival
Yeah,
for me. Not even rice and beans. Nothing.
I
Tragedy.
think I think Max Beline even cooked himself some spaghetti at one point.
Yeah, I mean that's just taking the piss, isn't it? Just
There were also snacks on hand, but obviously, if you're not spending too much time in the living room either, then
oh, it's just out in the garden the whole time.
I guess it just compounds itself like on Real Survivor. Because if you're losing challenges, you're not getting any food rewards either, so you're coming in just weaker and weaker. Maybe your
Yeah.
shelter isn't as good. You're not sleeping as well.
Nightmare. I didn't think of myself as too much of a idol finder either. I didn't really back myself.
Oh, okay, you definitely shot your shot in your intro video, from what I can remember. You definitely
Said I was
proclaimed
going
that
to
you were
find
going to
one,
find an idol.
but everyone lies in their intro. Obviously, not sure who's in the game, but my plan is to team up with Sam Northway and Alex Gandy, who I think will be strong players, strong physical and mental players, who are pretty good socially.
To be fair, I do remember you saying that you're going to work with Alex Gandy and Sam Stockbridge, and I haven't seen much evidence of that so far.
To be honest, I'm not really sure why they weren't in the game. Did they get invites?
There's one point in the I think it's the reward challenge at the start of the game. You can just hear a cut of me saying, "Damn, I wish I invited Sam Stockbridge." So that's a miss from me, and sorry, Sam.
A
Season
good
3.
lad, to be fair. I wish he came. I wish he joined Frisbee properly. Same with Alex Gandy, one of the all-time greats.
I think maybe in a way Alex Gandy was there.
Well, he was the sole survivor.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to Alex Gandy coming in on the redemption challenge. Maybe that's how Sorensen wins season 3. Like he shows up late, so I'm just like Sorensen. We're in like round 4 now. If you want to play, you're just gonna have to stick around till the redemption challenge, and then he just comes back in there and then wins from
Because
there.
obviously Sorensen always does well when he comes back into the game, famously.
But maybe everyone will just be like, yeah, well, we love Sorensen season 1. What a ham this guy is.
I,
Let me not vote him off.
I'd be doing everything to protect Sorensen if he came back for another series. Put my life on the line.
As would I. You better believe every tribal council he's about to get voted off. He pulls an idol out of thin air.
I'd like to play my idol for Sam Sorensen.
Yeah. Sorensen does not count. Sorensen does not count. I think at one point, if things are looking too dicey for him, I might be like, do you know what? A lot of you have voted for Sorensen, and none of them count. Okay, I'm not reading any of them out. Okay, so Merak don't find their idol. You know, maybe someone will find the picture of the peacock later on, but we don't care about that for now.
Yeah,
We can leave that alone. The peacock clue, there were people basically stood right next to it, and I was just like, someone's going to find that. They don't need any help at this point. So I left them all alone. I left them to do what they needed to. I'm walking back down the stairs, and I'm just like, no one's found the fox clue either. I see it kind of like sticking out a tiny little bit, but it was actually quite hard to find. The original photo, I think, might not quite do it justice because it was really tucked in there. So as I walked
yeah,
down on like my second or third pass, I poked out a little bit. So basically, whoever's the next one that's going to be walking through, it's going to be quite obvious for them, unless they're really blind. I don't know who was the next one walking through, but a few minutes later, I then go back into the living room and Divya is very clearly holding the fox clue. No one else is around at that point. So I'm just like, okay, well, to stop everyone else from really obviously finding you do this, let's go outside. So I took her outside.
yeah,
That's where we've got the confession of her looking at it. She then reads it out. It says something along the lines of, you want safety? Well, here's a smidge. Go make some music. Go to the wiidge.
yeah.
Which, admittedly, I'd written the clue in about 30 seconds. It
One,
not a
one
great
of
rhyme.
one of the easiest clues of all time.
There's quite a few pieces of information that I needed to get across within the clue. First of all, number one, the wiidge. Second of all,
Which,
make some music, DJ Hero. And then also I put the number two in it to make it really obvious that it'll be a game with the number two in. So
yeah,
three big clues within that. Unfortunately, and this is a bad from me, so I'll own up to that. I'll call them like I see them, and this is a mistake from me this time. No, I'm not talking about the memory challenge where a piece of wind unfortunately blew a sheet of paper and arguably cost it for Ruba Tribe. What I should have done at the start of the game, I should have given everyone like a proper tour, made it clear which areas of the house they could and couldn't go in, when they could
yeah,
have found when to not, just because it was a little bit ambiguous a lot of the time. Also, I should have introduced people to the concept of the wiidge, because Divi was just like, "What the fuck's a wiidge?" So
yeah. I think I'd like to take this opportunity to give a shout out to the Widge. Um, I mean, just wow. I, I
yeah,
mean,
let's
what a
give a
piece.
bit background to it, Lenny. So whose creation was the wiidge? Was this a TG Robbo affair?
I believe, well, TG Robbo is the owner of that fridge. I'm not quite sure why he had a fridge, but when he moved in, we were like, well, we have two fridges between five people. We don't need a third fridge. That'd be insane. But TG Robbo was like, well, I've got nowhere to put it, so it's going in here. And it sat dormant in the living room for a while, I
So
believe.
was there nothing in the wiidge by the time I moved in?
No, no, there was nothing in there originally. And then I think once we started getting the Wii out, I don't know, I don't know who first created the Witch. I think it would have been a TG Robbo job.
I feel like it was. I don't know who it was that proffered the name Widge. I
Yeah, it wasn't. I can tell you it wasn't me because I'd be very proud if I'd come up with a name that clever. Um,
I don't think it was me, but I feel
I'm
like
leaning towards TG Robbo as well.
yeah, I think it was. We'll either credit TG or I feel like I could easily buy Max having thought
Yeah,
of it.
one of those two.
Potentially Veronica. It seems slightly less likely, but there's always a chance. Unless, so I think we can give the credit to either TG Robbo, maybe Max, or it was just so obvious low hanging fruit that we all kind of thought of it, and therefore it's a group effort.
The collective group, the Westridge household.
Like, is it much of a leap between
Could
we,
it have been
Bridge, and
Brian?
Widge? It could have been Brian. The chance that Max's mum named it.
Could be. You can't rule that out. You cannot rule that out.
It really could have, it honestly could have been any of us. But throughout the year, as we were getting more and more 50p quiz games, the Widge was just getting increasingly stocked.
The Wii, we had a lot of Wii games by the end. Like that
The Widge
was,
was better stocked than any of our fridges.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely. TG Robo's two extra Wii's as well.
how many Wii's? There were like three Wii's all
Yeah,
stacked
the
on top of
three
each other as
Wii's.
well.
Yeah, two Wii's more than any household needs, I'd say.
All right, so we'll get into the clue in a little bit. So initially, so Divya has the clue. She
Yeah,
goes in. She starts looking in the widge.
yeah,
Unfortunately, the living room's quite a busy thoroughfare, especially
yeah.
because all of the people they knew it wasn't in your room because nothing was hidden in there the whole time. They had potentially gone in my room, looked around and been like, "Oh, I can't find it," and then come back downstairs. At which point, given I'd said it was in the house, not too many other places, so everyone's kind of in the living room anyway. So what happens because you then walk in and say that there's been a lot of chatter around the widge? Is this big dog seeing it and coming back and telling you? That's what I assumed, but it's hard to tell.
Someone, yeah, someone had told me in the conservatory that I think Divya was looking in the Widge, or
Right.
and I came in, and it's a beautiful shot where Divya's looking through the Widge, and the four other members of her tribe are stood in the living room watching her do it. Um, yeah, great to see. I think we were all fairly certain there was something in the Widge at that point, unless it was one hell of a bluff from Divya, but thought probably in the Widge.
When Big Dog or whoever it was came through and were just like, I think there's something in the widge, were you just like, that's a great place to have hidden it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was proud of you, very proud.
Were you just like, I'm absolutely buzzing that the widge is going to get some airtime here?
Let's go check out the Widge and make sure we get the name Widge said on camera.
We have the widge set on camera and then a cut to the widge opening.
It's perfect. I think, yeah, I'm glad. I'm very glad you did that. Um,
So we get a little bit of back and forth between the tribes. Merak not finding it, Divya also not finding it. So we then I'm able to cut back. I come in just in time to see you finding it. So can you
yeah,
fill in the gaps of what happens in the interim? Because none of you fuckers gave me a confessional this round, so it was very unclear as to exactly what happened.
my apologies. I think I didn't give a confessional because we won, and I'd literally just zoned out in my room for 25 minutes after. Um, but basically, what happened was I I was I was basically asked Divya like why
But the
like
other three all left at this point, and you
yeah,
lingered.
and
Okay.
I basically asked her if she wanted help finding it. Um, and I was like, if you show me the clue and I find it, then I'll give you the idol. Because I was trying to make friends with Divya at this point,
Hmm.
as you would have seen in the last episode. And then she showed me the clue, and I saw the Widge, obviously, and the Go Make Music, and well, I instantly knew that that would be DJ Hero 2. Um, I know your brain, I think, well enough to know that DJ Hero 2 is probably the funniest Wii game that you could hide it in.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about DJ Hero 2 and its significance, Lenny? Because I'm buzzing. It also got airtime. I didn't realize such a bargain of 50 pence. Well,
TG Robbo came home one day with DJ Hero 2. He's a big fan of DJing,
he was very
but
excited.
even so, he was very excited. And then it turned out you need like the Wii DJ deck, which I didn't know was a thing, but TG Robbo obviously didn't have. And then so it was just never used. It just sat in the widge the
It's
whole
like
year.
a wee wheel, but it's like a DJ deck or something like that.
And I think we'd always just bring up the game when we were asking like, oh, what do we want to play?
Yeah.
Someone be saying DJ Hero 2.
Some absolute jokester would bring up DJ Hero 2 and get a laugh every single time.
But yeah, went straight in and found it, and then I think just decided to keep it. Um, but it was Divya's, but I was keeping it. Um, I think because she didn't have pockets, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So, your intentions at that point were, oh, like I'm simply carrying it. It is Divya's. Was there any part of you that was just like, but if I'm in trouble?
Yeah, obviously, when you're carrying someone else's idol, if push came to shove, obviously I'm playing on me and not Divya. But the intention is to gain a bit of trust, increase my reputation to a more honest man.
Mm.
Which I think generally did work in this case. I think it definitely earned me a bit of trust with Divya, um, which was good. I
All
was
right, well,
quite happy
hopefully
about
that will
that.
buy you some goodwill in future rounds when Ruba inevitably go back to tribal council.
It's not going to happen.
Um,
We're gonna win every challenge. Mark my fucking words.
oh yeah, Sock was also lurking around when this all went down. So what 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 was Sock's perception of all of this? Did he see the idol get found? What happened there?
I actually don't know. I sort of just uh, a lot of last year. I think it's quite easy to zone out Sock. I think that's what might have happened to me there. Because I don't remember him being there, and I don't even remember him being there on watching it like 20 minutes ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know. He was lurking around, trying to make friends with the friends of us, but yeah, I mean, it's not a bad strategy to lurk around, get information.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely an interesting play given that they're people that you're not gonna play with until the next day if you're lucky and all of you make it. And then
Yeah.
it kind of just puts a bit of a target on your own back. Interesting stuff from Sock, but don't worry, we're coming back to Sock, okay?
Oh
Because
yeah. Good
this guy
episode
is
from there.
unhinged. I explain the immunity challenge, Lenny, and you find out that it's you've got two people working on the puzzle and three people doing charades. What's your feeling? Are you just like, yeah, put me in the charade straight away, or are you a bit
I,
more?
I'm not a great puzzler, and I genuinely think that I can do a job in charades. We, often play at family events. I've got a bit of a reputation there as a bit of a charade player.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, my family has like one made big story that always gets brought up about one of my disaster classes in charades,
Oh yeah.
um, where I was about 9 years old and I had to do the film Rocky,
Okay.
um, and
That's
obviously
a tough one. A tough one for someone of any age.
a boxing movie, which is very easy to do if you know it's a boxing movie. But I apparently, and I do vaguely remember this, I walked around my living room for 6 or 7 minutes pretending to pick up rocks and inspecting them and then putting them back down again. Um, and I eventually just had to give up and tell them. And
Oh,
it's been brought up at every charades game ever since, despite my
I'm with you though. I
disappearances.
think people that try and act out the events of the movie, I don't think this is true to the nature of charades. I think you should act out the specific words. Then it's more fun.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree with you. But in the case of Rocky, big fucking fumble from me.
Yeah, I think like if you're acting out the film Titanic and you mime a boat sinking, rookie stuff is acting out a boat sinking. Expert level, you're trying to convey the concept of something very large.
That's why I think Animals is great for charades. Like really very fun. And yeah, I think we wanted to Chris is a top puzzler, to be fair.
He does do a
Um,
lot of puzzles
yeah, he does a lot of puzzles in his spare time, so he was obviously going on the puzzle.
in
I
between
think,
all the geo guessing.
oh yeah, if there was a guessing immunity challenge, we would have Ruben would have taken it on that one.
That would have been during the COVID survivor.
The Pro Club's immunity challenge. I'm telling you, Ruba, me and Chris in the team, fantastic.
And oh god, what's the name of that text game where
Mime.
you have to like guess words by drawing? What's that?
What like Scribblio? What?
Scribblio.
Yeah,
That would have
that
definitely
was
been an
good.
immunity challenge.
We played that at like Skunks events, didn't we?
Mm.
That was very good fun.
There would have been an Among Us immunity challenge, obviously. In fact, you know what? The whole game probably would have devolved into Among Us, I think.
Yeah.
God.
The postcode is online.
Every round is GeoGuessr, and then occasionally the Wikipedia round where you have to start at a random place and get back to Hitler.
I was really good at that.
Most of those I'm terrible at. I'm pretty good at Among Us. In fact, I go so far to say that I'm a bit of an expert, but all of those other games I'd be completely useless.
I vaguely remember me, you, and Noel doing that Wikipedia game from like Harrogate Town Football Club to Hitler or something.
I'm not good at looking for the right things there. However, Noel, who may be gifted that, very gifted at guessing charades, do you think that Holly, Max, and Strath were particularly gifted at doing this?
Holly looked like she was doing a good job. Strath, I don't know how Noel got all five so quickly.
Strass conveying a hippo and Noel getting it almost immediately.
Yeah.
Insane.
I literally, yeah, my thought was that hippo is terrible. And then Noel just got it. So I think Noel was just unbelievable, to be honest.
All right, so we were in the middle of shouting out Noel and Max for their challenge dominance here. I thought extremely impressive performance from both of them. I think Holly and Strath also pulled their weight.
Yeah, I think everyone, well, apart from Strass Hippo, the blue team on did do very well on the charades.
I can't think of how else you'd act out a hippo though. I think doing that, and then he went and rolled around in the mud, which kind of looked quite snake-like, to be fair.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was a poor impression.
Not sure why he had to tuck the arms in, but Noel is just Noel is cracked.
Yeah, Noel was the MVP
Yeah, 100%.
there.
Yeah, well done,
Um,
Noel.
do you want
Um,
to follow that up by talking about the LVP of the blue team in that challenge?
yeah, all right. Well, who do you think?
Um, the man who, up until this point, had gained quite the reputation as a challenge beast, colossally let the team down, Oscar Josky Martin.
Oh, okay.
The man who, well, I mean, a great little edit of everyone saying it was Oscar's fault. Fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
I will say
Um,
that to be fair to Sock, the fucker didn't give us a confessional for that round. So that edit is just him saying Oscar's name previously, just for an unrelated reason. But I was like, I've got to get everyone in.
yeah, I think he probably thought it was Oscar's fault anyway.
Mm.
Let's be honest. I mean, even I said it was Oscar's fault at the end of the challenge.
I will say, and I want to defend Oscar a little bit here. You can see when Noel joins the puzzle, it does seem that Oscar and Big Dog are fairly even at that point.
Yeah,
So I think Noel later in one of his confessionals he thinks that Oscar was maybe hiding some of the important pieces that Noel himself didn't notice. So maybe that played a bigger role than we thought.
yeah. I heard that a couple of their pieces became a bit crumbly as well, but I think that might have just been an excuse.
I'm sure people are throwing excuses around all the time. I mean, it's like first of all, shout out to Veronica for those puzzles. Absolutely incredible. She made
Oh, they looked
clay.
unbelievable.
I
They looked
think I
unbelievable.
don't know much about the clay process, but she basically had to cut them out. And there's like a survivor fire puzzle, which is like, like a proper puzzle, like quite big. The pieces kind of
Yeah,
fit in, have like little kind of puzzle edges kind of thing. So she'd attempted to replicate that with clay and then cut them out. So absolutely incredible
it
effort
was
from her.
genuinely unbelievable how good it looked.
Yeah, I think, and like she painted them as well. So there was a red one for Ruba, a blue one for Merrick as well. I think perhaps maybe a couple of like the edges were like a little bit crumbly, but that's just, you're working with
Yeah, I
clay.
mean, to be honest, I think they were just moaning,
Yeah,
to be
it
honest.
probably was. I think like either way, like there wasn't a massive difference. But if you want to take it as like where people have been disadvantaged, you guys had a piece of wind blow away and arguably cost you a win earlier, which seemed
Arguably.
like probably a larger disadvantage than having a little bit of a crumblier puzzle.
Exactly. Um, and I mean, they were miles behind anyway.
I think if we're going to do the power rankings for the worst player in the challenge, personally, I would say, and it's close, Isaac, Will, Oscar, three worst players in the challenge
I'd
by a
say
long way.
Oscar, Isaac, Will.
Okay.
Will was, I think, doing a good enough job. I think Isaac's guessing was shocking. When I'm going like this and then pointing at you, I mean, what else could it be other than fruit fly? I had to do it like 3 times.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Oh yeah, I will say about that in terms of the animals that people were given, just in case anyone thinks it was unfair. I basically made a whole Excel sheet full of like the animals that I'd come up with, and then I completely randomly allocated them. I then went back to have a look to see whether it was like fair or not. There were some animals that I thought were going to be much harder than others, like something like a crocodile's going to be really easy, a rhino, a giraffe, an elephant, they're really
Yeah,
easy. And then you got like your toucans and your parrots. So I tried to make sure that as like a group, each tribe ended up with like the same number of difficult ones as each other. It
yeah,
just so happened that Will was really terrible at
yeah.
comparing
I
to
think
Isaac,
it
the
was
bald
fine.
eagle.
I don't think there was any problem with the difficulty.
Yeah, yeah. I think Noel just absolutely incredible. I think the
Yeah,
hippo, Noel getting that hippo straight away was got to be a highlight of the
yeah,
challenge.
yeah. I feared the worst when, we were still going and they finished. Uh, I thought it was over at that point, but a passionate performance from me put it back on track, I'd
Yeah.
say.
So Lenny, what's going through your head as you're watching Isaac and Big Dog solve that puzzle? It looks fairly even for a lot of it, and then at one point it does look like they take somewhat of a commanding lead here.
I was just very nervous, like considering it's a game of very little consequence. Um, my nerves were through the roof. Like I really, really just wanted to win one challenge, like quite desperately at this point. And when we start to pull ahead, excitement and just joy and relief. When that final puzzle piece goes in and we actually do win, I was very happy. I think you could hear the pure joy of our team when we win that.
Like listening to Divya as it's almost being solved, she's just like, and then all of you getting so excited when it finally happens was a great moment to behold. I will also say to your point, I feel like maybe like from slightly earlier, but definitely from this round onwards, everyone's starting to take the whole thing a lot more seriously. Everyone's fully
Yeah,
buying into
yeah.
the concept from this point. I feel like first couple of rounds, you got Lucy and Divya kind of messing about in the blindfolded challenge, and then like the memory challenge was a little bit unlucky. But I feel like from this point onwards, everyone's just like, okay, right, we've made it this far. Now we're fully
We're
committed.
so locked in. I think especially our tit tribe have like so locked into it. I think ever since we lost that memory challenge, I think we were pretty locked in,
Mm.
even though we lost the next one.
I
That's
think
because they
Merrick
lost.
as well, because like it's quite easy to be like, all right, well, we just beat him again and then just kind of take it easy. But now they've had to go to a tribal council as well. I feel like it's
Yeah.
it's kicked in for them as well.
Do you want to talk about their first strategy session?
Let's get into it. Well, first of all, I want to know what you guys did upstairs. So this is your first time making it back to your room. What do you guys do? Are you all sat there just like, oh yeah, great stuff? Like you all put on your new red headbands and stuff like that.
I would say it wasn't a celebration. It was more just everyone just like just exhausted. Well, like, I just I sat, didn't move for like 25 minutes, however long it took, and was just like just so like relief more than anything, just to not be downstairs.
Was there any speculation from you guys at all as to who might get voted off on Merak?
Um, I'm not sure. I don't think we even thought about it. I think most people were just eating their lunch in silence, for most of it. I'd say that's mainly what happened.
Let's hop into this strategy then. So first of all, this was one of the things that made me laugh every time I saw it when Billy walks up to Max right at the start.
So, Billy, what should we? I don't know really. This is unfamiliar territory.
I know.
Successful player like myself.
Yeah.
That was just so funny, the whole strategy session. Um, the him immediately saying that they should vote out someone that didn't take part in the challenge when he's talking to two people that didn't take part in the challenge was also great.
I think we should vote somebody who didn't take part in the challenge personally.
Okay. So that was me or Billy.
We started to see the first iteration of Max's strategy, which is
If you want to chat, I'm available anytime. Well, not any place.
Or if you want to do some cardio, just
Also let him know.
keep light.
He's looking pretty slender, looking ready for some. There he goes.
leaving his group and then just standing there being like, come speak to me, everyone.
I'm available. Come and speak to me. Hearing that on three different clips was great.
Yeah, I think that quite irritated me at the time because that was exactly what was going through my mind.
But I think it just makes it very funny.
Well, first of all, Lenny, should Oscar just have been voted off here? Should there even have needed to have really been a discussion?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, I'm very passionately in favour of not voting off based on challenge performance, unless it completely suits your agenda and then using it as an excuse. I mean, Oscar's also been very good in the other challenges. So I wouldn't, if I was on that team, I wouldn't be thinking Oscar's a challenge liability just because he's, made one mistake after four excellent performances. But that seems to be a lot of the thinking towards the start of that strategy round.
Obviously, fully agree with you with this. And I feel like we might have discussed this on a previous podcast, but I will say again, in terms of your voting, it's simply you have lost the challenge and now we're going to vote. It doesn't have to be we lost the challenge and now we need to figure out who's it's not the apprentice. Like we're
Yeah.
talking about we now, as a completely separate idea, now need to vote somebody off. So like,
And yeah, I understand voting off someone who's not very good generally at challenges that you think is going to make your team stronger without them. That makes sense. But yeah, just voting someone off because they had got a bit unlucky on a puzzle. No, absolutely not.
yeah, I think basically if you're trying to decide between someone that isn't working with you, might actively be working against you, and clearly isn't in your alliance or any alliance you're planning on forming, versus someone that performed badly in the challenge, obviously you vote off the person that isn't going to work with you in the game because they're a
Yeah,
much bigger
yeah,
threat to you, even if
100%.
they're the best challenge player in the world. Like you just got to take them out every time. Um, who would you be targeting, Lenny, if you were on this tribe?
Um, I think I'd be following the Holly Sheridan school of voting out the snakiest man in that tribe, the cockroach, um, Mr. Noel Clark, and I would be petitioning hard for that. I'd be going over to everyone and being like, you saw what he did last game. You've got to just get rid of him when you have the chance. Whenever you've got the chance, just get rid of him. Um, so yeah, I think Holly had the right idea, but she wasn't as aggressive as I feel like you need to be to get rid of someone like Noel.
Well, I mean, from the start, Ben seemed to hop straight on board with this. So Ben comes up with the idea because there was the initial concern that Noel had an idol. Ben comes up with the plan to flush the idol by putting all of the votes on Oscar, but making Noel think that the votes were going on him. What do we think of this? Good strategy from Ben. Should it have been executed better?
Yeah, I think if that's something you can actually pull off, then that's great. Like if you can make someone think they're going to get votes, they have an idol, they will play it. Um, and it's good. It's just a really good way to think, isn't it? Because you know, even if they don't play their idol, you don't really lose anything, and if you're still voting off someone else, then it's happy days. But I'd say it will work more often than not, right? If you make someone really paranoid, they're probably going to play it
Mm.
if they have it.
Yeah, especially at the first tribal council, like, everyone's jumpy anyways.
Yeah,
But what I will do, and well done for everyone that's watched up to this point, I'm going to reward you now by laying you down some advanced strategy. Okay, so over Cook Islands, season 13, a player called Cowboy had a dream about different credit cards. It was a whole thing. He's a strange guy, but
right.
he conceived, because this was like the first season, the first proper season with the concept of a hidden immunity idol. Okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, this was like the god idol, so it meant that you could still be voted out, and then after being voted out, you could play the idol and save yourself. So bullshit, and not the exact rules that we have for our idols. But I think the same rule applies here. Okay, if you think somebody has the idol, Cowboy concocted Plan Voodoo. Okay, which is to basically split your votes, split your alliance's votes between the player with the idol and another player that's part of their alliance or whatever. Play without. So let's say if we're following Ben's logic here, then let's say there's 7 of you, you're voting against Oscar and Noel. You put 4 votes onto Noel, 3 votes onto Oscar. That means if Noel plays his idol, the idol's gone, and so's Oscar. So
Yeah.
2 birds with 1 stone, exactly what Ben was thinking would happen, happens. And then if Noel
Yeah.
doesn't play the idol, he goes, which is what you want anyway, and so does the idol.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's fantastic strategy.
So I think maybe a better suggestion there. I think there
Yeah.
was just a lot of fear about the idol, and especially like in round 1, like you don't know who's aligned with each other anyway. Like you
Yeah.
don't know who's gonna stand up for each other. So let's get to Noel now. So Noel, of course, doesn't have an idol. He does have something, but it isn't an idol. Oh, should we talk about Noel's advantage?
Didn't even show it on film.
It does get activated this episode.
That's
Um,
true.
we don't see
No.
him finding it because he's an absolute bastard that
Yeah.
didn't at any point come and get me and be like, I think I found something. At no point did he do that, so that's why it's not on film, Noel. You suck.
Yeah. Bastard.
But we can tell the story through the confessionals. So Noel has essentially found a banker vote advantage, which he feels safe enough to use this round. So Noel didn't vote, and he has therefore saved that 1 vote for any time later on in the game that he wishes to use it. What do you think? Good advantage? Is that going to shake
Yeah,
the game up at all?
I like it as an advantage. I think it's quite a fun one. I think an extra vote can make a lot of difference as well. When the game gets tight, when it's close, I think it just means that in a case where if especially if you've got even numbers in the tribe,
Hmm.
it can just mean that you just need half the people instead of, you know, well, if it was six, for example, instead of needing 2/3 of the members, you just need half, which is a big difference.
Yeah, yeah, I think it can definitely pull a big swing in the game. But Noel, he also goes around telling everyone that he has the clue for an idol, but can't solve it. What do we think of this strategy? Is it good or is it bad?
I don't understand what he's doing, to be honest. And also, if I was one of the people on the other team, I'd say, well, what's the riddle then?
It's genuinely interesting that no one asked.
Yeah, that would be the first thing I do because clearly you're saying it in a way like you can't solve it. So clearly you want someone to help you. So what's the riddle? But
Yeah, I
no
think
one else.
at the very least, you just play it off as in like, oh, well, Noel, me and you are together now. I can help you, and then
Yeah,
like one of
yeah,
us can find this thing, and then we can use it for each other. Tell me
yeah.
the riddle, and then at that point, at the very least, you're calling his bluff, and
I'd
then
love to see Noel try and come up with a riddle on the spot as well. So they've really
well,
let him
hey, you might be rewarded in the future. Uh,
down.
so for some insane reason, just like the idea of not asking anyone to form an alliance with you, no one asks Noel what the riddle is, so he gets away with it. And
Yeah,
also, it's even though they're all just like, "Oh, we should vote for Noel. Yeah, he's such a big threat," and then they're just like, "But no, he has an idol. Okay, well let's make him scared so he couldn't play it." Oh, but no, it turns out he doesn't have this idol all along. Okay, we'll vote for Zhao. Like,
yeah,
at no point was anyone like, huh, hang on a sec. And to be fair, Holly knew. At no point was anyone else just like, hang on, he doesn't have an idol. Let's just vote him off. Also,
yeah. I
he's got
think
the idol clue, so he doesn't have it now. But next round when we do
especially
want to get him,
yeah,
maybe he'll have it.
yeah, it's bizarre. I think it's classic round one like your first strategy session, isn't it? Where no one really knows what they're doing. Everyone's just going with the latest idea. Um, I feel bad for Zhao, really. I don't think he really did anything wrong. I mean, it seemed like he would have, he seemed to know that stuff was coming his way in his confessional, had the right kind of worries, just couldn't do anything about it.
We'll get into a conversation that Zhao was in. So Sok comes in. He's seen that Lucy's been voted off. He's very paranoid. He's already paranoid from the very start of the game because, as we all know, it is Sok. He will be
Yeah,
voted off first. I think he's
yeah,
been very lucky so far to have avoided tribal council for long enough. And I think clearly everyone on the team has kind of forgotten, oh yeah, obviously we're voting off Sok first.
yeah. I think he's gone away with murder
I think he's
because,
done well there, but he's playing with the paranoia of a player that everyone should be voting off first. So
yeah,
he comes in just like, okay, well, Lucy got voted off, so clearly there's a big alliance with all the big personalities on the other tribe. So we need to stop that from happening on this tribe so that we're all safe. And then Oscar's just like, what? But you're a big personality. If anything, this benefits you.
yeah, shot himself in the foot there.
Do you think this theory about the big personalities holds? Did all of the big personalities on Ruba get together?
Well, I don't know if I consider myself a big personality.
I'm not. I don't know if that tracks, to be honest, because you've got
I think
basically
Isaac's
the
quite a
people together
quiet
on Ruba are
man.
you, Isaac, and Big Dog. Big Dog, famously not a big personality.
Yeah, I think quite mellow boys, really. Um, Maybe the slightly more physical players or like the larger men did
Hmm.
ally, but I think when you think big players on the Ruber tribe, you're thinking probably Lucy and Will are your
Yeah, I
main
think though
two.
that would be the big personalities getting together. Lucy, Will, anyone else?
I mean, probably Big Dog as well. I mean, I know he's not outwardly loud, but he is one hell of a personality.
Yeah, big personality in terms of like well connected within the game,
Yeah,
definitely. Big Dog. Okay, so we're thinking maybe not quite the right analogy for Sock there. Okay, so what do you think? So Zhao, Oscar, and Sock, they have this long conversation. Sock's just like, oh, I'm worried that all the big that, like Noel and Strath are going to get together, and then Oscar's just like, yeah, yeah, and Zhao agrees, and then at the end, Zhao's just like, all right, we should pick a name before we split up. Can you tell us the importance of picking a name before you leave a group?
Well, yeah, if you don't pick a name, then it's just the entire time is wasted. Essentially, you've just done nothing with your time. Like, what's the point?
So I want to ask you, Lenny, did this lose Zhao the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a big contributing factor, isn't it? Just playing too passively, not doing anything. And I think a lot of the time you can get away with it because there are 9 people. So it's not the biggest chance that it's going to be you. But you've got to play the game like it could be you. And you can't just sit there and wait for you to go. Like you have to do stuff and you have to make decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a thing on Oscar here that I was going to say for later, but I think now's a good chance to mention it. Did Oscar play this round well? Because surely he knew that everyone was going to be coming for him. He's in this chat with Sok and Zhao. Sok's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm concerned about these two other players. Sok's not saying Oscar's name, and then Oscar just kind of lets the whole conversation go
Yeah.
without saying anything. So, like, I guess there's a pro there that people won't be like, oh, Oscar's saying so and so's name. But I feel like that's maybe not that likely to happen anyway. Let me throw this at you, and then I'll get your take. So, was Oscar smart here? He knows he's probably going to be a target. He even hears his own name later on in the rounds, and he never offers another name. Did he play this well or not?
I mean, that's crazy to me.
Because doesn't get a single vote.
Doesn't get a single vote, but
But is this just lucky?
maybe it's just maybe it's a bit of Oscar charm as well, where he goes round, he makes people feel comfortable, he agrees with people. He does do a very good job of making you feel like he's on your side, I think. But to me, not offering out a name is crazy, especially when you're potentially on the chopping block.
I mean, did his challenge performance just speak for itself? Like, did he not need to say anything, or was he genuinely very close to going and got lucky?
I think it's probably a bit of luck. I think he did do a bit in terms of like saying, well, the challenge wasn't like I know it was my fault, but it's not the be all and end all. I've done well in other challenges, kind of thing. So I think he did well there, but yeah, probably not quite aggressive enough.
Because I think later on we can put it down to players like Nolan Sock saving him. But then do
Yeah,
we credit Oscar for having the social bonds that gets him saved?
yeah. I think a lot of credit has to go to Oscar for he is like instantly very likable, and instantly you want to work with him. I
Mm.
mean, I know from experience, very very lovely man. So good social game potentially.
Okay, yeah, it's the classic difficult to portray social edit, really. Yeah, yeah. As you mentioned, we get to a conversation between Max, Billy, and Ben, with Max telling them both that he thinks that they should vote out someone that sat out the challenge. At which point Ben's just like, "But we're the two guys that sat out." But then Max says something that hasn't been said yet, and he throws out Zhao's name. Do we credit this to Max Berline?
Oh, absolutely. The architect.
Okay.
I think he was doing a fair bit of the work. I'll jump straight to it. The chat that he has with Zhao and Strath sends Zhao away, or Zhao walks away, brings back Strath and says, "Yeah, we should vote him off." That is top quality.
This is vintage Survivor Southampton right here.
Yeah, that's as good as it gets. I was properly laughing at that.
It's definitely a Max Berline move. We saw him do it in season 1 to Sorensen.
He's he's great. He's just a mastermind, I'd say.
I would say at this point, it's almost as iconic as the Sorensen close-up confessional. We saw Ben Roberts rocking that this episode, actually.
Yeah, that was good. He knows what's up.
Yeah. Ben Roberts just giving constant homages to season 1, which, to be fair, I think he had seen. So, did Sok get away with murder here? Because Max is just like, we should vote for someone who sat out here. He's speaking to Ben and Billy, who both sat out, so he's probably not going to say either of their names. He picked Zhao because Zhao went to go and look for an idol. One other player also sat out and also went to look for an idol, and that was Sok. Did
Yeah,
did he just get really lucky?
luck of the 50-50.
Because earlier, right at the start, when he's speaking to Oscar and he's just like, "Oh, we're really paranoid," he does say, "Me and Max are really worried about the big personality." Also, Max, one of the big personalities. I don't understand what this theory is from Sok, but I think this is a great time to get into Sok. So we see a conversation between Noel, Strath, and Sok, and I think this is a great time, Lenny, for me to take you through Sok's strategy this round. All right.
Right, okay.
So to start off, Sok comes into this round. He sees that Lucy's been voted off from the other tribe. Okay. He's gutted that was the player that he wanted to work with in this game. Okay. So he's thinking it's all the big personalities on Ruba. They got together, they voted her out. There's a big alliance over there. So he comes into the round targeting Noel, Strath, and Oscar as the big personalities from his team. Step one, he's speaking to Oscar and Zhao, and he tells them that he doesn't want the big personalities running the show, which, if you're Oscar, maybe that's an alarm bell already. Okay. He's targeting Noel, Strath, and Oscar. But at no point does he decide on a name with Oscar and Zhao. Okay.
Yeah.
He then goes to speak to Noel and Strath, who are really the two people that he's targeting the most.
Yeah.
He then tells them that he was busy forming an alliance with Oscar and Zhao. What do we think of that as a move?
I mean, never tell people you formed an alliance. Oh, that's quite a basic.
I think you can see that on Noel's face. Noel is smelling blood at this point. So at this point, Noel's just like, I can manipulate this guy as much as I want. Okay, so he tells Noel and Strath he was busy forming an alliance with Oscar and Zhao. He then defends Oscar when Noel suggests him, arguably saving him.
Yep.
Step 4, he tells Noel and Strath that he's targeting the big personalities. So kind of lets the cat out of the bag here. He's targeting the big personalities, but not them. So at this point, he's talking to all 3 people that he's targeting, told them that he's targeting them all. Step 5, he accepts Zhao as the new target and does absolutely nothing to save him, even though Zhao definitely not one of the big personalities, and Zhao also one of the people that he's claimed to have formed an alliance with.
The tide's turning that way, Mike.
And then step 6, the piece de resistance. It's between Noel, Oscar, and Zhao, and he votes for Zhao.
At the end of the day, you can't criticize that kind of gameplay.
Oh my god.
Unbelievable. Oh, that is unbelievable.
Oh god. Stock, thank you. Because I really enjoyed watching it back. It made no
Really?
sense at all. Like everything he said at the start of the strategy session, he just went against in every conversation.
It was just so funny to watch, I think. Just between him and Max, I really enjoyed that strategy section.
Yeah, I mean, so from your perception, so obviously you come down at the end, you see that the result is that Zhao's gone out. Do you ever hear about anything that happened here? Is watching all this back completely new to you, or like at some point in the game did it kind of filter through?
I think I remember hearing that it was fairly clear cut, the Zhao one, that basically just wasn't. I think I heard something along the lines of he was off looking for an idol, he wasn't that involved, and he just got, got done.
We do then see a confessional with Strath, who does kind of confirm what Sock's fears were. Strath says that he wants to align with the Loud Boys, being Oscar, Noel, and Max. I don't know how Sock is not included in that, as definitely one of the Loud Boys, but so maybe Sock was right all along.
Sock was right. He just didn't do anything.
He just fully enabled the alliance to take place without him.
But sometimes you have to do that.
Let's talk about the Holly Oscar chat just briefly. Holly gives Oscar the heads up that the vote's coming for him. She's like, it's basically between you and Noel. And he still at no point says, well, I prefer it being Noel.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, that is definitely too passive, but it worked. So can you even criticise him?
We see that conversation between Zhao, Strath, and Max that we've talked about a little bit, but Zhao comes away from it. He's a bit psyched out because they don't properly say a name. They don't decide on Noel or Oscar. So I think Zhao reads the situation correctly here. Is there anything at this point, if you're Zhao, you're getting these vibes, is there anything that you can do at this point? We've already seen the vote switch off 2 people in the first couple of minutes.
I think yes. I think sometimes the answer is no, and you can't do anything. But I think in this first round, if Zhao went round and got just put one name into like 5 people, like just went in, pitched it, was like, we're doing this, this is what's happening. It's Noel, let's get Noel. It probably happens. Like,
if the target's switching that quickly, though, is it best to just pick a new person?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe you pick Strath or you pick Max. Just pick someone, just someone that's not you.
Yeah, maybe you could have picked a new person, or at that point, like if you're getting those red flags, and like it's hard to get a read on anyone in the first round because like you don't know what's going on. But if you're really feeling uneasy, maybe at that point, just start playing a bit more passionately. I reckon just grab the people that you trust the most. If Zhao trusted Holly and Ben the most, grab them straight away and be like, right, okay, I'm feeling really uneasy here. Let's just pick a name and spread it, or I feel like I'm going
Yeah,
home here.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's the best way to do it.
Oscar then he does admittedly do something. He tells Holly that he is a good ally.
Yeah.
I would like to know from you, Lenny, what makes a good ally?
I mean, someone like Oscar is the perfect ally for someone like me because in the first season, he was the perfect ally because whatever I decided, he would do the same with very little question. If someone brought up my name, he would be there, changing the subject, getting onto someone else. That's basically like the main things you want, really. Someone that is going to take your name out of the conversation and put the persons that you want into it.
Mm.
I think Oscar's great for that.
In this situation, then, do we blame Holly for not locking down this alliance? Then,
Yeah, I think if someone offers up like that, especially someone like Oscar, I think you've got to be like, yes, let's be a team, let's be best buds. Yeah, I think that's hard to do when you've never played before in the first round.
yeah, that is true. But I want to know because we see Oscar speaking to Noel later, and he's just like, I don't want to vote you out. Is he a good ally for Holly? I think at this point, Oscar is probably the person that Holly wants out the most, realistically, because like, sure, he's a great ally, but he's not a great ally for her.
Yeah, I think he's a very good ally for someone like Noel,
Mm.
which I mean, he does go seek him out. So I think that's probably a good play from Oscar. Um, where Noel does control a lot of people's votes. I think he can sway people. And from Oscar's perspective, if he can get Noel to think that he's going to do what he did for me last game, then he's someone that Noel will find to be worth saving, which is massive for Oscar.
It's probably the smart move for Oscar as well, because like you've got to assume that at a merge, everyone's going to be going for like the bigger players, like especially
Yeah,
biggest physically. Oscar and Noel are going to need each other to stay in the
yeah,
game. They're going to need some of the other
absolutely.
bigger players. Like they're not going to want a Holly who's not going to be targeted straight away.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the right call for them, and they did well.
Yeah, so I think Holly probably a bit outgunned there, but I think she was on the correct. I
Yeah,
think Holly's best play would have been to get an Oscar or a Noel out, and I think that's what she tried to do. So
yeah.
fair enough. A couple more things on the strategy session. At one point, Sock says that he's going with the tide, and you might not have clocked this, Lenny, but Billy's reaction is absolutely hilarious.
I'm happy to turn with the tide, and if the tide's turning that way, I'll turn with it.
Because I was thinking,
Just his face is basically just like it's very good. Oh, and last thing on the strategy, Lenny, the fashion section. What do we think of Strat's look?
Oh, just beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh,
are we
yeah.
yay or nay, hot or not?
Oh, hot. Yeah, I'll be donning that outfit tomorrow. Now I've seen it.
Yeah, the boxers outside the shorts.
Absolutely, straight in. Supervisor meeting tomorrow morning.
All right, into the tribal council. One big thing that came up here. First of all, failing to light the torch. Just quite funny.
Embarrassing. Just
We have
embarrassing,
a lot of torch mishaps this season.
embarrassing tribal council for you, I think.
Wasn't a great one for me, yeah. I know the word I was searching for now, and it's taken me about a year to think of it. The word was pageantry. Okay, that's the word I was
Pageantry.
going
That
for.
is the correct word. Yeah.
I thought a valid point for me. I just couldn't think of the fucking words. I think maybe in my mind, subconsciously, I was just like, I know it begins with a P, which is why I said preening. And
Yeah.
then everyone was throwing out fucking useless suggestions. Like Liam Lou turned to me and
Well,
was just like boisterous, just like no, come on, like you guys, you know what I'm talking about.
you had getting big right there to use. He didn't take it, so that's on you.
I just couldn't think of the word. Like I was basically making a point because Max had said, "Oh, Peacock, I get big. I'm in their faces." At which point I was just like, "What a great way to segue into asking someone else a question about the Ruba tribe." And I was trying to say, Peacock's obviously renowned for their flamboyant displays, their pageantry, whereas foxes are more sly, they're more cunning. Ruba have been to all these tribal councils, they strategize together. Uh, Holly or whoever, is this going to be threatening for you? And what are you going to do about it? And I thought, what a great question. And I couldn't think of the fucking word.
Bumble. Bumble. The biggest of the game so far.
Yeah, that was a bad moment for me. But I think one of my few mistakes is to tribal council. And I'll tell you what, I am coming along something fine. I've just started editing the next immunity challenge. And there's very little of my introduction that I have to cut out. I'm on it now.
Okay, okay.
I've warmed up. Now I finally had both tribes at tribal council. Also, this tribal council was much better structured. Like there was so much shit that just wasn't in my head at the very first one that I should have told you guys, but just didn't get around to. And I managed to say
Yeah,
all of that to Merak. So
fair enough.
yeah, there you go. There's a couple of good quotes that I wanted to run by you this tribal Lenny. Cocks stick together.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep.
Um,
Cocks
was
don't
there
need
what?
no fox.
That's the one. That's the one I was thinking of.
And don't let the fox eat the cocks.
Uh,
Which one's your favourite?
I think probably the second one.
It's a shame it could have been the episode title if Sock hadn't had that incredible Viva la Revolution, which I will
Viva
just
the Revolution. I also enjoyed this episode. Max in the background saying that's not an idol, that's a cheese board.
yeah.
That was my personal highlight.
There are a few great contenders for episode title, but as soon as Sock looked into the camera and said Viva la Revolution, I was just like, this not even a debate here.
Yeah, no, that's very, very fair.
A couple of quick fire ones, and then we'll talk about Zhao and do fan corner.
Okay.
So Merak are under the impression that there is a single dominant Ruber alliance, presumably comprised of all five of you. What do you say to that? Is that kind of how it felt? Is that the impression you were trying to leave them with, or is that just complete hearsay?
I would say that is genuinely how it felt at the camp. I did not want to. I would not have wanted to go to another vote. There was not a single person I wanted off, and I would have been very happy to work as that five going into the merge. So I think, yeah, essentially accurate.
Okay. How much animosity was there between the tribes at this point?
I don't think the blue had any animosity towards us, but
Because at
I
tribal, they're just like, oh, we'll get together at merge and we'll vote out all the reds. Is that how you guys felt? Were you just like, we're working together no matter what? We're going to take out all the blues
yeah,
and we're going to work hard
I
together.
hated everyone on that blue tribe. So I think they probably didn't have the animosity, but they had the general thought of, let's vote them off. But I don't think they quite had. I mean, I was not happy with that team. Just for the main reason they keep beating us. They didn't really do anything wrong. It's just we're
There's
just
a lot of
getting battered.
showboating.
Yeah, the showboating, but yeah, I just wanted them to lose, to go out.
Although, like, it's part of it from them. They're just like, we've done so well in these challenges. It would be like, what a shame it would be to blow this by not voting off all the reds. So, like,
I mean, yeah, I mean that is how you should think. We're in a majority. Let's stay in it.
what would you say your ethos in general is, Lenny? First of all, as a player, and then secondly, for a viewer perspective, is it better or worse for when the tribes eventually merge to stay in the tribes, stay in like tribe lines, whatever, and like try and take out the other tribe, or is it better if it's like completely fluid?
I think as a player, the perfect strategy is to stay in your alliance if you have the numbers and just vote everyone else off. I think especially if you feel like you're one of the top players in that alliance, then it's definitely the thing to do. As a viewer, that's incredibly boring um, to watch. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen
There've been
because
a lot of otherwise potentially good Survivor seasons that have just been completely ruined by what's referred to as a pagonging, with one tribe just systematically eliminating every
yeah,
member of the other tribe at the merge. That's why UK Survivor never got off the ground in the first couple of seasons in like 2002. Both seasons, that's exactly what happened. I think there
yeah,
was a creatively named North Tribe and a South Tribe, or it might have been North Beach and South Beach tribes that I think they got to the merge. Like one of them had six and the other had four, and oh no, the six vote off all of the other four.
yeah. It's boring. It is boring. It's not the type of game that I'd like to watch. So I'm really hoping it doesn't happen in this edition.
It would be a frustrating season. Um, Noel Banks's vote at Tribal Council.
Yeah, that's good. Clever.
Yeah, smart move by him. He
Smart.
correctly read that no one was voting for him. Well, not
Well,
enough
two,
people.
but two's quite normal for Noel, I think.
Yeah, that's true. A two for Noel is like a zero for a normal player.
Yeah.
Let's eulogize Zhao first, I think. Personally, I think he tried hard. I think he was aware that he might be a target, so he was looking for an idol. But I think maybe ultimately, Lenny, that could be what did him in.
Yeah. I think especially at the start, you can't be off looking in that first round. because you've got to be there to stop your name being thrown in, and you've got to be there to put someone else's name in. I think that's probably what cost him.
Do you think if they'd have lost an earlier challenge and gone to tribal council earlier, does Zhao get voted out?
Um, no, I think if they lose one of the first two, I think Sock goes almost definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think you got to imagine Sok goes immediately, and then they're probably looking at players like Noel. I think Zhao
Yeah,
probably sneaks through.
I think he was unlucky.
Yeah. Is there anything that we think that Zhao could have done to save himself? Obviously, we've talked about throwing other people's names out. Like you've got a
Yeah,
lot of big targets on that tribe.
yeah, I think you just got to throw some out. Else's name out. I think in terms of getting brought up, that's just unlucky. Not much you could have done about that. But yeah, you've got to be a bit more proactive.
I think we can kind of attribute his demise to Max and Strath, who both independently came up with his name.
Yeah,
And then they kind of met later on, and they're both just like, "Oh yeah, great, that's exactly what I was thinking," kind of thing.
yeah,
Um, but I think there's partially it's a little bit challenge performance related. There was sort of some unspoken bonds in the challenge, like sort of between Oscar and Noel, but then obviously that went back to a previous season.
yeah,
So I think there was a bit of that, but I think realistically the newer players had to kind of try and take the initiative because otherwise players like Noel are just going to take the game away from you, which I think is what
yeah,
happened here.
yeah. I think that's accurate. A trip
Uh,
to fan corner.
I think so. I think it's time. Let's see what the fans have for us this week. Okay.
Oh, I will say from my fan corner,
Oh yeah.
my sister was gutted about the loss of Lucy from last week. She just loved Lucy, watching the show, and I think it was probably my sister's favorite at that point. So she wasn't happy.
Do you have any word on who picks up the mantle as the new favorite? Or I guess there's
Uh,
there's always a chance Lucy comes back, so it
I
could still
don't.
be
Well, yeah,
Lucy.
my sister said that she hopes she comes back in the Redemption Challenge. And I'll ask her for next week who her new favorite is.
Okay. All right, let's see what Fan Corner says. Okay, here we go. Speaking of Lucy, just clocked Big Dog's little smirk when Lucy is leaving there. Faris's little dash off screen cracked me the fuck up.
Yeah, that was good. That was very funny.
Lenny the lone wolf. I assume that's when you're eating your sandwich.
Or maybe when I flipped over, I was the only one to vote for Tribe Swap.
Oh yeah, could be. Um, yeah, I think a lot of the other tribe were at that point just like, okay, well, Lenny's clearly going to be the next to go now. I think they all assumed that it was because you were on the bottom and knew you were going next. Why you were, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the impression that Sock certainly had. Oh, shout out to Basil Brush. Yeah, there we go. Do you have any history
Yeah.
at all with Basil Brush, Lenny? Did you watch it?
Great guy. I think everyone loves Basil Brush. I don't know why he's still not on the air, to be honest.
Did you watch him a lot when you were a kid? Because it was one of the main shows that was on when I was younger.
I don't know if I specifically watched like a Basil Brush show, but he was just everywhere, wasn't he? You can avoid Basil
Yeah, I
growing up.
don't know if he's much of a thing anymore.
No, I don't think he really does. I think he's retired.
I will say when I saw that Divya was the one that had found it, I was just like, I feel like you might not understand this reference.
Yeah, potentially that I feel like Basil Brush might not have broken Malaysia.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not sure it's quite at that point yet.
I don't know if he got out the UK, to be honest. Basil, he didn't have many world tours.
I will say shout out to Dave Molly and Mr. Stevens. Was Basil Brush your favourite fox? What about cousin Bingo, Lenny?
Who the fuck is Cousin Bingo?
Cousin Mortimer as well?
Is this from the Basil Brush show?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
You got the
No, I
classic.
just
You got the classic Basil Brush. Ha ha ha! Boom boom. Then
yeah.
I think we all know what Bingo's going to say.
Oh
Bing
yeah.
bing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cousin Mortimer, who was he was the nasty one of the bunch. Ha ha ha! Bang bang.
Oh, oh. Yeah, no, I'm a Basil man through and through.
Yeah, Basil the best one. Okay, there was a lot of chatter, much like in the game, outside the game, about the wiidge. A lot of people were very interested in this concept, Lenny. I didn't realize it was going to go off as much as it did.
The wiidge, it's fantastic. Everyone needs a wiidge. I miss the wiidge. I really do.
I like to think that TG Robbo still uses it to store his Wii games.
Yeah, I don't know if Teacher Robbo, I don't know what happened to it. I remember dropping off at his house, but I don't know if he has it with him now.
Yeah, I mean, Lenny, do we have a live update on the wiidge?
I'll get in contact. I'll get in contact with TG Robbo.
Okay, I want to know what happened to the wiidge and what happened to DJ Hero 2.
Yeah.
That's what the fans are clamoring for. I
And
reckon
he's
at the end
obviously
of this season, maybe we can sell them and get lots of money.
obviously he's still got DJ Hero too.
Yeah, if any fans out there know about the Wii DJ deck, then get in contact with us and we'll pass it on to
Yeah.
TG Robbo. Uh, okay, the fans also found it funny that apparently the house was not tidied up even slightly. I will say we had a lot of there was a lot of snacks out on the table, and Veronica had done a great job with the decorations as well. So there was a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, I think if you want to go after your room specifically, because that wasn't tidy,
Admittedly, I did just have to shove everything under the
the
bed.
best, yeah.
And this is why they made their peacock incompetence even worse, because I was just like, okay, well, there's nothing under the bed. That's just all my stuff. Like, if you want, you can look there, but I can tell you that there's nothing there. There's also like nothing under the desk. And basically, they kind of essentially knew that there are very few places it could be. It's probably going to be in the room. If they know that it's not in like half of the room, that's even more embarrassing from them. Okay. Absolutely bananas transition shot of you hugging a tree. Also, I wasn't hugging the tree. Uh,
Did look like it.
In the original Survivor, Lenny, in their like intro package, there's like a very famous shot of one of the players, Richard Hatch, and his like shot when they're showing his name is he's looking like right at a tree, and then he just turns to the camera like that. And I
Okay.
was just like, in any season that I do, I'm gonna have to have a shot of someone doing that, and obviously it's gonna have to be me because no one would just randomly do that in the game.
You should
So,
have asked, I would have done that.
all right, season
So,
three. Or if you send me footage of yourself doing that, then I'll put it in one of the transition scenes later.
Oh yeah, I will do that. I will definitely do that.
Okay. So therefore, if for any season of this and for any future season that ever happens, if you look back, it's also in season one as well. For the intro video, there will always be a clip of someone looking around from a tree, just because it's that
Right.
iconic. Okay. All right. Hey, at least Holly is showing more commitment here than she did to looking for stuff. I think that's probably commitment in the charades.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the toucan one was really harsh. That's so difficult. Lenny, how would you delineate a toucan, a parrot, and a bald eagle, or just an eagle? Just very
A
quickly.
parrot, I would, much to my jellyfish, I would do something along the lines of someone else talking. I'm the animal, and then someone else is chatting, and I'm chatting back. Something like that. Toucan, big fucking nose.
Yeah, I think Max did it the best.
Eagle, I think, yeah, big wingspan. If you want to go the bold route, maybe point at Max Beline's head.
Yeah.
Um, that's probably what I'd do. Yeah,
Okay. You can really bring out the personality of the critter, Max, you absolute maverick. Yeah, a lot of people enjoy Max's confessionals.
yeah,
Uh,
fantastic.
did Lenny just mind pissing on Divya? Apparently
Yes,
he did.
yeah, it's
All right,
exactly
well
what I did.
we can confirm that. That's exactly what
Yeah,
happened.
I'd do it again.
Ruba fucking won a challenge. Holy shit, let's fucking go. Everyone was very excited, Lenny, that you finally fucking won one.
I was excited.
Can you briefly give us kind of an encapsulation of the relief that you felt at this point? We just like, finally, we don't have to vote anyone off.
Yeah, just relief, joy. I was just happy. I was just so happy to have a rest.
Okay. A lot of people concerned for Zhao. Is Zhao in trouble? Please no. Noel, you're not going to vote out Oscar. Be for real. Zhao
Yeah,
sounds genuinely concerned in the confessional, poor lad. Yeah, we love Zhao. Sad to see him go. Oscar slightly underplaying his absolute dominance in the challenges here, I'd say.
yeah,
All right. Strath dressed like a toddler who dressed up as a really niche superhero for Halloween, and his mum really phoned in the costume plans.
yeah. That's nailed it.
All that trivia knowledge, and you had nothing on peacocks. That's fucking weak. No, I wasn't. I wasn't going for peacock trivia. I was just trying to think of the word pageantry or showboating or like flamboyant displays, and I just
Shit
couldn't think of the
host.
word. And no one on that tribe offered me anything useful other than Holly, who did say displays, which is sort of what I went with. But yeah, that was it was a tough spot for me. They're getting excited that Noel had played his extra vote. So this basically means, so for anyone that doesn't understand, so Noel will have that vote in a future round if he wants to, whenever he wants to use it. But he has to say coconut at that tribal council.
Okay.
So if it does come out, we'll have to look out for the coconut. Everyone was upset that Zhao had left. Our Zhao, I really hope to find an idol. Oh, and people are excited to see you incite violence in Merak by bringing Agents of Chaos next week, Lenny. So yeah, well, this brings us on nicely to our next episode teaser. Unless you want to make your announcement before that.
Oh yeah. If you're still watching the podcast at this point, and you want to maybe feature in an episode,
Yeah, if you want to
um,
give your opinion about anything that's happened in whatever episode it will be, or in any of the past episodes, if you're a player, maybe you want to tell your story. If you're a
yeah,
fan, maybe you want to give some insight as to your experience watching it back. It's an
uh,
experience that neither of us can provide, given that both of us know what's happened, but maybe you can give us
yeah.
some better insight that way.
So if you are one of those people, get in touch and yeah, get in touch with me. Don't message Mike. You don't want to talk to him.
Yeah, all right. Well,
He's a prick.
you know, some have said that I'm the host of the show, but all right, fine. So also each episode, I've just got to turn up and see who you've managed to drag along.
Yeah, I'll send you an invite.
Well, so I'll drop you the invite and then you copy and send it to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, Lenny, we saw a brief teaser for next episode. It looks like there's some running backwards and forth with water.
Get ready for Mike's second big mistake of the season. Get
I'm editing
excited.
that one at the moment. It wasn't as bad as the first one, or maybe it was. We'll leave that for you.
It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad, but there is a mistake. I've
Get
got
rid of
some
that
strong
shit.
opinions on it, is what I'd say.
Probably one of the closest immunity challenges we've had, actually. We've seen quite a few close
Oh,
ones.
yeah, it's a real nail biter. A
Yeah,
real nail biter.
yeah. Genuinely not even being sarcastic. It is extremely close.
Sorry, I do struggle to come across genuinely, but yeah, genuinely very, very close.
Maybe this is partly why, like, you have the reputation of being a backstabber, and if I were to play, I certainly would as well, because we both just sound sarcastic.
Yeah, it's hard. It's tough.
Yeah, it's hard to sound like I'm genuinely committing to something because, yeah,
Yeah.
I will sound sarcastic. If I'm just like, yeah, let's definitely vote off Noel, then people are just like, is he
Oh,
joking? Like,
yeah.
all right, well, thank you very much for joining me this week, Lenny, and
Yeah.
I look forward
Fantastic.
to next episode.
Yeah. Can't wait.
And yeah, as we said, if you
Catch
made
you
it
all
this
next time.
far, get in touch. Maybe with Lenny, probably with me.
Me. You
So,
want to message me?
yeah.
Your best bud.
Cheers, Lenny. Always a pleasure.
He